Social media has made us worse as people. Y'all, it is really difficult for me to even go 24 hours without looking at a Facebook, an Instagram, YouTube, whatever other thing that's out there. I don't have a TikTok or Twitter, but you understand what I'm saying with that. I cannot go that long without looking at it. And as soon as I get up in the morning, I'm looking at my phone. I recently started putting on airplane mode, but still, I feel like I have to constantly gravitate towards my phone and look at what's going on. It's like this pacifier that you have. You're constantly like sucking at all the time. And I think it's making us worse as people. At least for me, it's like we can't even think for ourselves anymore. It's like all these influencers and all these people, everyone has their own opinion. We know what they say about having an opinion. Everyone has one, just like everyone has a anus, okay? Everyone has one, and I feel very overwhelmed. And I notice sometimes when I'm consuming too much of this media, my brain just feels very turned off, like mush. It feels mushy. It feels like I can't process my thoughts as well. I feel like this social media stuff can be more bad than good. Okay, thanks Silicon Valley for giving us all these different social medias. And the people who even created this, a lot of them don't even use social media themselves. We've known this for years. And this stuff is not free. Nothing in life is free, okay? There's no such thing as a free lunch. We know that. Someone else is paying for it, or you're paying for it with your personal data. Of course, we're usually very open on social media. I am also guilty of that. It's like, oh, okay, we know you're African American, we know that you're Black, we know that you're a millennial, we know that you're married, blah, 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 blah. So we're gonna put you in this box and we're gonna give you these products and show this to you, okay? And so even though we're on social media every single day, all the time, it looks like it's free, but it's not. And we even heard about the 2016 election, how so-called Russia or whoever else was able to influence our minds or influence technology for things to happen and all this mess. So social media is making us worse as people. I truly believe that. Unfortunately, we've had social media, since the early 2000s? Y'all, I remember back in the day, okay, when I was younger, that there was no social media. I would just be outside, or if we had Super Nintendo, play Super Nintendo back in the 90s. Okay, I'm an 80s, 90s baby. And we didn't have all these social media influences and all these different things and all these opinions that we keep getting fed constantly consuming. These thoughts and other people's opinions do shape yours, even if it's unconsciously or subconsciously. I noticed that for myself. I feel like now we don't think like organically sometimes because we spend so much time just consuming and not enough time just being like, you know what, I don't want to do the social media stuff for a bit. I don't want to consume it. I don't want to look at it. And I understand sometimes in the back of our minds, like, well, how am I supposed to communicate with my, I don't know, mother-in-law that lives in San Francisco, or my cousin lives in Baltimore, Maryland, and I live in Texas. I get that. You might want to communicate on social media to connect with them or know what's going on. But honestly, if it's that important, your mother-in-law and your cousin is going to communicate with you in person, or they're going to call you or WhatsApp you, which WhatsApp, I guess, is kind of a social media, but I don't count that because it's really just communicating, strictly like communicating in a group. But anyway, I digress. The point is, really take the time to go away from it. I realized myself that it is becoming more toxic for me than good. Obviously, we know there's pros and cons to everything in life. There's a little bit of pros when it comes to social media. Like, I wouldn't even know about certain things when I travel. I wouldn't know what was available without social media. I mean, of course, I can Google things, but I can personally get other people's perspectives on things which again, you may not want to have that because you're getting someone else's opinion, someone else's influence. Sometimes we need to step back and have a break from it and have our own organic thoughts, our own organic experiences. And I've noticed for me that it's a lot. So for me, personally, when I was younger, I was a very gullible child. Like, very gullible. I was a person, I wanted to believe everything someone else was saying. Everything. So, unless it's weird things like, oh, I don't know, the sky is red, I'm looking at the sky like obviously it's not. But other than that, I was a very gullible child. And I realized with the social media things, that can affect people that are just naturally more gullible than others. And we know that. And even people who are very smart and not very gullible, sometimes they can fall into these traps of just these thoughts of other people and influences of other people. And just be aware of that. Especially if you're a millennial, you understand. Generational X and millennials, y'all understand. And baby boomers. My generation and older understand because we've had times where there was no social media at all. And we didn't have all these influences. Influences were different. They're mainly coming from the TV. And if you have cable, maybe that. Or like family members around you and friends and stuff. But now it's different. It's like, I'm hearing about someone who lives in Hong Kong and their beliefs on what's going on in China or the Ukraine, or someone that lives in Brazil, what they feel about the United States, and maybe they have some political affiliation. Like, you get all these influences in all these different places, it can be too much. So taking a step back, taking your time to just sit with your own personal thoughts, your own feelings about things, I think is important. Sometimes we consume too much of what other people say or what they do, and it's like questioning your own intuition and your own guidance. I'm guilty of that, and I'm sure if you consume social media as much as I do, I'm sure you're guilty of that too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!